everyone, Rachel Berg, Realtor with Bridgewell Real Estate Group here in Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. And today's video, I am going to be doing specific calculations for GST rebates on new homes. So in British Columbia, we have a GST tax, so a goods and service tax, which is a 5% tax on goods and services. And so this does apply to new home sales. So think of things like pre-sale condos, newly built constructions being sold directly from the developer, but it does not apply to used residential homes, say one that's been lived in or one that's built in the 90s, something like that. But there are two types of GST new home rebates. And so both of those types are calculated in the same way. So there's the new housing rebate and then there's the new residential rental rebate. They're calculated basically on the purchase price. And the partial rebate works on a sliding scale, but the full rebate for new homes are calculated as 36% of the 5% GST. So I'm gonna break this down into a couple different examples for you in terms of purchase price. So maybe we'll work with something like $300,000 and $350,000 for the full, and then we'll work with $400,000 number for the partial exemption. So starting off with the full exemption. So, this is not 36% that you get rebated. It's 36% of the 5% GST. So I have my phone here that I'm going to be using as a calculator. So let's take the example of a purchase price of $300,000. So $300,000. First, what we need to do is we need to calculate how much the full GST amount is. So $300,000 times 5% is $15,000. So your GST is $15,000. So then what do you have to do? You have to calculate what 36% of that GST is. So you take $15,000 and you times it by 0.36, so 36%, and you get a rebate, 15K times 0.36, a rebate of $5,400. So that means you now take the $15,000 number, your total GST, and you less the rebate of $5,400, and that comes out to your total GST number that you are going to be responsible for after rebates. So 15K less $5,400 is $9,600. So that means in the situation where your purchase price is $300,000, you qualify for the full rebate. So you calculate your GST, which is $15,000 based on the 5% GST full amount. And then to calculate your rebate, you take that full GST amount and you're going to be rebated 36% of the 5% GST, which comes out to a total rebate of $5,400. And then to figure out your total purchase price with your GST included, you take the $15,000 GST number that would be the full 5% GST, less the rebate of $5,400, which comes up to a total of $9,600 is what your GST is going to be after factoring in the rebate. So there's example number one. So let's take another example. So the maximum amount that you would be able to qualify for is a number you'll see, it's $6,300. So that $6,300 rebate, it's the maximum amount because it's calculated on the maximum purchase price for the full rebate. So in this situation, you have a $350,000 purchase price, right? So again, what do? We calculate what the GST is based on $350,000. So $350,000 times 0.05, so 5%, gives you a full GST number of $17,500. This is what your GST would look like if you didn't qualify for a rebate. So then what you do is you take that number, $17,500, And what do you want to figure out? You want to figure out what the rebate is. So you take 36% of the 5% GST. So times it by 0.36, 36% of the GST, the full GST for $350,000 purchase price. And you get $6,300, like I said. So then to figure out your total GST after the rebate, you just simply go 17,500 less 6,300, which is 11,200. So in that situation, your purchase price with your GST included would just simply be $350,000 plus 11,200 is $361,200. So that's how that works, and this would be an example of the full exemption to the absolute max because you're using a purchase price of $350,000, which is the maximum purchase price that you can qualify for the full rebate. So that's that example there. So I hope that this is starting to make sense to you guys. Another type of exemption that you might want to look into is a property transfer tax exemption. So for newly built homes, there's a property transfer tax exemption up to the $750,000 mark in British Columbia. But if you're looking at a residential resale property, there's also a property transfer tax exemption for first-time homebuyers up to the $500,000 mark. So definitely another thing to look into, and I do have a video on that, so I'll leave a link. But getting back to GST, so now we have to figure out how the partial GST rebate is calculated. So this one is a little bit more confusing, but that's okay. I'll work through it with you. And essentially what you do is you take the maximum GST rebate that's available for the full rebate. You take that amount and you multiply it by the maximum partial rebate that's available in terms of the purchase price, and then whatever your actual purchase price is, and then you divide that all by $100,000. So for example, let's say that we're working with a $400,000 purchase price. You would calculate this by taking 6,300. This number never changes for this calculation. And then you multiply that number by $450,000 less $400,000, so 50K. And then you divide this whole section by $100,000 to get the example for what your rebate is. So let's just do a $400,000 purchase price example. So 400K, that's 50K here. So what do? You take 6,300 and you multiply it by 450,000 less 400,000. So 6,300 times $50,000, and then you divide that number by $100,000, and you get a rebate of $3,150. So this is your partial rebate. So again, using this situation, right? To figure out what your total GST is after your rebate. In a situation, we use 400,000. So you go 400,000 times 0.05, so 5%, is $20,000. This is the typical GST that you would pay based on a $400,000 purchase price. And then you less that by the rebate, $3,150 less $3,150, and you get a GST after rebate of $16,850. So I hope that this kind of cleared things up for you with regards to exactly how to calculate new home rebates when you're purchasing and when you're trying to consider all of your costs that go along with purchasing, like the 5% GST. If you do have any questions about the cost of buying a property, questions about GST and how to calculate it, or if you're looking for a realtor to help you purchase in the Lower Mainland, again, my name is Mariko, and I'm a realtor in Coquitlam, British Columbia is where my office is, but most of our business is online and referrals, so we're really all over the Lower Mainland helping sellers and buyers sell and buy homes. So if you have any questions, again guys, I am definitely here for you. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, definitely do so. I'm giving lots of updates on COVID-19 right now. I'm giving educational updates about taxes, GST things. There's always something going on the YouTube channel. So definitely remember to subscribe and like this video or comment if you have any questions. Thanks so much, stay tuned, and have a great day.